The NTV team will let us know exactly when to start. So mine is to call your attention. Make sure you have put off all your gadgets. And this includes sounds on the laptops. For our team at the back, you need to use your laptops, but make sure you have muted the sounds. The phones, kindly have them on silent. The camera will be swiping around the room at any time. So I also want to ask, especially our team from Lab Fund, that let us not be online today. Sacrifice 2 hours. Sacrifice the 2 hours not to be on your phones, because when the camera sweeps around the room, you don't want to be caught looking down on at your phone. This will not be a good image for the meeting, for our online viewers. Are we okay? Yeah. So should I be using this one? So okay, okay. Hello.
1, 2.
Yes. Is it okay? So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 12th AGM of Lab Fund. We shall start with the national anthem.
Let us bow down for a word of prayer. Our mighty Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning. We thank you, Jehovah Lord, for the gift of life. Thank you for making this day be. Our God and our Father, we lift the activity before us into your hands. As we lift the Board of Trustees, the management, the key stakeholders, and all our members into your hands. Help us, dear Lord, to take this day with your presence, with your guidance, and also we call upon your understanding and knowledge in all things that we do. We praise you and we honor you, for we pray this believing and trusting in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
So ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, this is the 12th AGM of Lab Fund. And it is also our first AGM to be held virtually. We all understand the circumstances that we are in, and hence the need for a virtual AGM. Now, an AGM is a statutory requirement under the retirement benefits, occupational retirement benefits regulations, Section 8, 2, subsection J. And it is part of the duties of scheme trustees. Specifically, it says that the duties of the trustees should include convening an annual meeting of members to enable members to raise matters that relate to their scheme. It is therefore my pleasure this morning to acknowledge the presence of the board chair, Madam Celestina Kiuluku, and the entire board here today ready to execute this fiduciary mandate that they have. The CEO of Lab Fund, who is also the scheme administrator, and the entire team of management and the other staff present here, the regulators from RBA, the service providers from Sanlam, KCB, the custodians, and Britam, also the fund managers. And most importantly, our sponsors and members watching us and tuning in through our social media platforms. We are live on NTV Kenya, on YouTube, and on Facebook. You are all welcome to participate in this AGM. You know very well that Lab Fund's slogan is secured retirement. This meeting is part of us ensuring that your retirement is secured by engaging with you on matters to do with your scheme. I therefore welcome you all. Karibuni sana. My name is Veronica Lesea Wende, and I'll be your moderator today. Some housekeeping issues on the question and answers. As the presentations are done today, feel free to send in your question via the social media platform that you're tuning in on the chat section. We will collate the questions and we will be able to respond to them at the end. The program has a Q&A section allocated, and we will respond to what we can today. What we can't, we will respond after. Ensure to give us your full names, the name of the county or sponsor that you are coming from, and your contact details so that we can engage further. I therefore invite our Corporation Secretary, Madam Kellen Njue, to read the notice convening this meeting. Kellen, please.
All protocol observed, good morning. I will take us through the notice of today's AGM. Notice of the 12th Annual General Meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 12th Annual General Meeting of the Lab Fund will be held virtually on Thursday, 30th June 2022, starting at 10 a.m. The following business will be transacted. Number 1 is opening prayers and welcoming remarks, reading of the notice convening the meeting, presentation of the trustees' report, presentation of the scheme administrator's report, presentation of the audited financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2021, presentation of the investment report, presentation of the custody report, question and answer session, vote of thanks, and closing remarks. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Kellen. Next, we will have the board chair, Madam Celestina Kiuluku, presenting the trustees' report.
Good morning, members. Before I present the Board of Trustees report, I will introduce the Board of Trustees to the members, to our sponsors, so that you can get acquainted with them. All the Board of Trustees, including the CEO, you can come in front for introductions.
My name is David Koros. I'm the CEO.
Good morning, Kiriga Manyasi, board member.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jane Wambogo, board member representing CS National Treasury.
Good morning. My name is Nancy Ngato Anyanda, board member.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Molu Mamo, board member.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elias Sheikh Abdinur, board member.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rudongo Makokeo, board member. Thank you.
These are the members who are the Board of Trustees of Love Fund, and they are the ones who oversight the affairs of the scheme on behalf of the members. Thank you, board members. You can be seated. My name is Celestine Kioloku. I'm the chairperson of the board of Love Fund. And I'm presenting the Board of Trustees report. The Chief Executive of the Retirement Benefits Authority, fellow members of the Board of Trustees of Love Fund, Chief Executive Officer, Love Fund, management, our service providers, and staff of the scheme, all sponsors and members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the board, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this very important occasion in our calendar of events of this scheme, the 12th annual general meeting that is held today virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that COVID-19 pandemic has affected our lives in a big way. This includes restrictions on physical meetings, which are likely to aid in the spread of the pandemic. In cognizance of the fact that the Omicron variant is still with us, we have convened this meeting virtually because we value the health and the welfare of our members, and in compliance with the Ministry of Health COVID-19 protocols. We all agree that prevention is better than cure. I take this opportunity to thank all members and sponsors who have joined us today virtually. This is a clear indication that you are interested in the affairs of your scheme, which plays a significant role in ensuring that you live a decent life upon exit from active service. We greatly value your attendance and active participation through the online platforms that have been provided. We have converged today to update our members and sponsors on the performance of the scheme during the 2020 and 2021 financial year. This is not only a good practice, but also a regulatory requirement by the Retirement Benefits Good Governance Practices Guidelines. Ladies and gentlemen, the role of the board of trustees is to provide oversight and policy directions on matters affecting the scheme. The board is accountable to you as the members of the scheme and the sponsors for the same. As a board, we ensure that the scheme complies with the Love Fund Act, the Retirement Benefits Act, and the attendant regulations, and all the laws, policies, circulars issued by the government of Kenya. Oversight bodies and safeguard the interest of members. That is our role. It is important to note that Love Fund has dual existence as a retirement benefit scheme and a state corporation. As such, Love Fund operates under the watchful eyes of the National Treasury, which is our parent ministry, the Retirement Benefits Authority, the regulator of this scheme, the Auditor General, those are the people who audit our books, Parliament and State Corporation and Advisory Committee, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, and the Inspectorate of State Corporations. All these concerted efforts are to ensure that your retirement as members is secure. Ladies and gentlemen, Love Fund attaches great importance to the need to conduct its business with integrity and in accordance with the principles of good corporate governance. As such, board members and employees of the scheme have continually maintained high personal and ethical standards. They act in good faith and in the best interest of our members. The board has ensured there are sufficient and effective internal controls to avoid exposing the scheme to risks. Ladies and gentlemen, like every other scheme, the overriding objective of the trustees have introduced to you is to ensure that the scheme provides members with maximum returns for their investment. As trustees, we remain true to duty and continue to diligently steer the scheme to great performance in order to realize this objective. Ladies and gentlemen, Love Fund, in its 62 years of existence, has always posted positive financial performance. It has been on a steady growth as evidenced by the reports tabled every year during the annual general meetings. I can assure you that the scheme is on a sustainable growth. During the last financial year, the fund value recorded a growth of 20%. The fund value increased to 51.6 billion from 43.6 billion in the previous year. This is despite the hard economic times in most of the sectors in our economy attributed to the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, high inflation rates, and adverse weather conditions. It is important also to note that the scheme paid out benefits worthy 4.1 billion to members exiting the scheme upon retirement. The trustees are working overtime to ensure the scheme remains on a steady growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Kenya values its workers and has continually emphasized on the importance of ensuring that they have a decent life after retirement as part of the milestones of Vision 2030. This can only be assured by systematically planning for it while in service. LAFAND greatly appreciates our sponsors who have consistently supported the policy by remitting their contributions to enhance the welfare of their employees. We continue to appeal to those who are not remitting contributions on time to do so on a timely manner to enable us invest and maximize returns for our members. One of the principles of good corporate governance is compliance with the laws of Kenya. Rules, regulations, guidelines issued by government and its agencies to guide operations of the benefits scheme. With respect to the scheme compliance, we have achieved the following among others. Trustees have complied with the requirements for quarterly meetings of trustees to review the reports of our service providers. We have done strict implementation of LAFAND investment policy, which is aligned to the provisions of retirement benefits investment guidelines. All the required statutory returns are being filed promptly with the relevant bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, LAFAND has earned its fair share of challenges historically, and these persist even in the year under review. The major challenges are two. One, contribution areas. Failure by some sponsors to remit their contributions or to remit less contributions than is due has led to accumulation of high arrears over a period of time. This has reduced the funds available for investment and consequently return on investment. Pension remittances are statutory payments and form part of personnel costs. We urge our sponsors to ensure that remittances are made promptly. We are, however, grateful to note that in the current year, which we are reviewing today, there has been commendable improvement on the monthly remittances from our sponsors. The second challenge is the renewed implementation of the County Government Retirement Scheme Act. This act that provides for establishment of an umbrella retirement scheme for county government workers was assented into law on 18th September 2019. However, some stakeholders went to court to challenge some provisions of the Act. Subsequently, the court issued an interim order stopping the implementation of the Act. The Act is a great drawback since the Act was made to improve the provision of services to county workers. The matter is pending hearing and determination in court. We are aware that this has caused a lot of frustration on our members who have advocated for the merger and looked forward to implementation of this act. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Love Fund, with the support of the management team, the staff, are committed to ensuring that members' benefits are enhanced and ring-fenced. With your continued goodwill and support, Love Fund will without any doubt achieve its vision of becoming the preferred savings and retirement benefits provider. Let me thank my fellow board members, the Chief Executive of Love Fund, management, and the staff, sponsors, members, and the National Treasury, the Retirement Benefits Authority, and the Inspectorate of State Corporations, and everybody else who is here. Your contribution to this scheme is immense, and in making your contribution is very key in making Love Fund what we are today. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Celestina Kiuluku. That was an excellent report. And I believe that members now know what the trustees have been doing for their scheme for the last 1 year. So I now call upon the CEO of Lab Fund, who is the scheme administrator, to give the administrator's report. Mr. David Koros, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. All protocols observed. I will proceed to deliver the scheme administrator's report for the year 2020-2021 for the Love Fund as a retirement benefit scheme. So I want to make a brief speech, and in the speech I think I will also there will be a mix of my speech as well as a presentation, so you can be seeing the slides as they are presented. So I want to start by reading a speech. I want to acknowledge the presence of the RBA Chief Executive or his representative, Love Fund Board Chair, Madam Celestina Kiuluku, Love Fund Board, who have been introduced here, the management of Love Fund, our esteemed members, our sponsors and partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once again. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to our 12th annual general meeting. Today marks an important date, as for the first time, Love Fund is hosting a virtual AGM as we adapt to the realities of COVID-19. This has made us quite innovative in how we run and conduct our operations, including today's function. This AGM provides us with the opportunity to hear directly from you as our members and to answer your questions as best as we can. As you know, when COVID came in, we at Love Fund, we were forced to close our offices for a bit of time in the year 2020-2021, as guided by the then Ministry of Health, and the staff started working from home. The result was more online meetings remotely, as opposed to the in-person meetings that were being held earlier. However, service delivery and official operations continued smoothly, aided by the quick transfer to online digital processing activities as by the business continuity plan that we had in place. And it was as well supported by a robust ICT system that we have put in place. In terms of marketing, we witnessed reduced personal interaction as per government policies and directives, and this led to a reduction in a number of recruitment of members compared to the previous years. Total voluntary contributions also reduced due to reduction in disposable assets and free income, or rather disposable income, by our members and contributors. In terms of investment, interest rates are declared based on the country's economic performance, which was negatively affected by the pandemic. Markets actually shut down, leading to a reduction in return on investments. As you all know, there was a time, this was the period where NSE actually shut down for a long time. I think the longest in the history of NSE. Consequently, this has led to lower rate of returns on the interest rate declared to our members, as you'll be seeing shortly. What I would like to report is that Love Fund continued, despite those challenges, to comply with the taxation changes that were affected during the period to cushion the effect on the economy. Being a provident fund, the major effects was that the highest tax bracket that was applied on lump sum benefit payment dropped from 30% to 25%. This was a benefit to our members who are retiring. Love Fund continued to put in place measures to ensure that operations are not disrupted during the COVID period. And some of the measures that I would like to highlight include we were able to set up a virtual private network for our staff to work from home, as I've mentioned. We were able also to set up Microsoft Teams to allow staff to undertake virtual meetings online. We were also able to establish a disaster response team who helped to investigate the modalities of managing the COVID-19 cases when they arose or when they arise. And I'm happy to report that we handled this very well. In our situation, we had cases which we handled very well. We continue to develop our business continuity plan that also provided for ways of managing disasters that would have arisen. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to also provide highlights of the financial year 2020-2021. I will start with compliance. And I would like to report that the fund actually complied with all the requirements, or the statutory requirements and the regulatory requirements that we are required as a scheme to comply with. This included filing of the returns with the regulators. I think we have continued to file all the returns that are required by our regulator, the Retirement Benefits Authority. We have also continued to pay all statutory deductions and taxes to the KRA, and we've submitted quite a lump sum amount of payment to KRA. We have managed to carry out audits on our scheme, and we have got the latest audited accounts, and we want to appreciate the Office of the Auditor General who audited us. And I think the same will be, the Auditor General will be presenting the audit opinion on the same. We complied with our Operating Act, which is the Love Fund Act. We also complied with the RBA requirement in terms of the investment service agreements with the investment managers. We have a very active investment policy in place, which was reviewed by our board during the period. We were able to file with RBA our custodial agreement. We were able also to give our members their membership statements as of 30 June 2021, and we have been able also to provide this online continuously to our members. So our members have not lost anything. They're able to follow and update themselves in our affairs, or in their member, as far as their member statement is concerned. They're able to pick it up or to access it online. We paid due retirement benefits levy as required by the law. We have continued to hold trustees meetings quarterly as required by the law without fail. As I've mentioned, we have done all contributions returns. All our annual returns are being done. We have also continued to pursue remittances of contributions from sponsors. And lastly, I think, is trustees development, where all our trustees have been trained, have attended trainings on the role and responsibilities of trustees conducted at the College of Insurance, and they have certificates, all of them. In terms of fund value, as mentioned by the trustees in the trustees reports by the chair, the fund increased its value to 51.6 billion from 48.6 billion, an increase of 20%. We attribute this to the robust management and prudent investment decisions that has been made by the board, that has been management and the service providers, and we want to thank the service providers for the excellent work they have been doing for us. So you will see the fund grew to 51.6 billion, roughly around 52 billion. In terms of this distribution of assets, I think, as I've mentioned, we have within the RBA guidelines, leading to all the figure of 51 billion has been distributed in the approved asset classes as per RBA investment guidelines. In terms of membership, Love Fund grew its membership to 62,595 members, a growth from 59,666 members. We can say that we had a minimal growth because of the effects of COVID-19. However, we still managed growth despite all those challenges. 4,852 members joined. We have another 1,004 members who have been deferred. And at the same period, 2,015 members exited the scheme through retirement or any other exits that are provided by the law. When it comes to age profile of our members, it is important to note that the scheme exists in perpetuity, and that we have to continue enrolling new members as we get those who are exiting. And when we did age analysis of our scheme as of 30 June 2021, we realized that the largest age group is an age group of between 31 and 35 years, which comprises of 20% of our total membership. When we looked at our age group scheme analysis of the ages of members, we also realized that we have the highest balances being attributed to the age group of between 51 and 55 years. These are our members who are about to retire, and we realize that cumulatively, they have assets worth about 9.3 billion from us, which is 19% of our fund value. In terms of contributions, the fund, during that difficult period, we nonetheless managed to increase our contributions from the previous number of 7.1 billion to 7.4 billion shillings contribution, 7.42 billion shillings. Or rather, our contributions rather decreased to 7.1 billion from 7.2 billion in the previous year. Of course, I have laid all the blame on COVID, because, as you know, COVID had drastic effect or impact on our economy, and hence affecting contributions. We managed to pay benefits, nonetheless, over the same periods. Our benefits of paid out amounted to 4.1 billion shillings. And as I've mentioned, we paid 2,015 members over the period. In terms of interest declaration, we were able to distribute or declare an income or an interest income of 5% to the members over the period. And it is actually, we maintain the same income declaration as the previous years. Because you realize, despite the challenges that we have had on COVID, we managed to maintain the same policy on return on investment or interest declaration. That gives us an average of 9% declaration. So if you do an average over the last 9 years, we have been able to declare an average return of 9% to our members. Of course, the chair has mentioned challenges that are facing the fund. And the main challenge that is facing LAF Fund, I want to make it clear to our members, is collection of contribution as they fall due. Collection of contribution from sponsors has led to an increase in the debt portfolio because sponsors have not been remitting the contributions. This has also affected our return earned by the scheme because most of the debt is not yielding anything. We have unremitted contributions totaling about 34 billion. That is both principal and an interest charge. Owing to the huge interest and penalties that have accrued, it has made the fund has been forced to make a provision to the over a 50% provision on the scheme over the 4-year period that over 4-year period we have had to provision 50% of the debts that that is owed to us. Interest on penalties have also risen to 27 billion. This is also another huge challenge because when sponsors do not remit contributions on time, the law requires us to penalize them. Any contributions that remain outstanding after 15 days at the end of the month, or even less, we are supposed to charge a penalty and interest for any outstanding contributions. And this amount has grown over time to about 27 billion. This is a big challenge. We need to ensure that we need to come up with policies to address this challenge because it is a time bomb on the scheme. If the scheme is that does not collect this money over time, the members may not have their benefits paid on time. So mine is to urge sponsors to make sure that at least they put in efforts to make payments to the scheme on these outstanding contributions. I would like to also highlight that because of COVID, over that period, the government instituted changes that were meant to safeguard members or to benefit members. I've just highlighted that one of the changes was the reduction in the taxation maximums from 30% to 25%. In the same guidelines, trustees were allowed to postpone AGMs. We have not had an AGM previously. We never managed to do an AGM in 2019-20 because of COVID. Hence, we postponed our AGM completely to this year, and we are holding one for the year 2020-21. So trustees were encouraged to explore use of technology to all meetings through video conferencing and other alternatives, hence why we are holding this meeting. As we speak today, COVID is still around, and we thought it best that we comply with the health protocols that have been given, and we, guided by these provisions, we decided to have our AGM virtually. In terms of taxation, the marginal tax rate on taxation of pensions and withdrawal from registered pension schemes, provident funds, NSSF, or registered individual retirement funds reduced from 30% to 25%, as I've mentioned. These tax changes were effected during the COVID period, and the main objective was to cushion members, basically. In terms of submission of audited accounts, or financial statement, there was a consideration of extension of the deadline for submission of audited accounts during that period. It was extended by 90 days. That was effective March 2020. So any audited accounts, because of the limited interactions that were that got reduced, trustees' movement and the movement of service providers involved in preparation of audited accounts, specifically the Office of the Auditor General, meant that they needed more time to prepare comprehensive reviews on most of the key issues that were requiring, and this required almost personal interaction. So we were given a 90 days extension in order to be able to exchange this and exhaust whatever issues that were there. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to say that the industry continues to play an important role in development of our country. We continue to provide financial security and social protection to organizations and individuals across the counties, the county governments, the county assemblies, and water companies and related institutions. And I want to thank them for the support, the unwavering support that we have received from these organizations. That is why the trust of our members and partners is our key business driver. And we want to thank you for the journey, or for journeying with us for the last 60 years, the journey we have walked with our members over the last 60 years. The new financial year, which we're just about to conclude, offered us opportunity to be more agile and better fit for future, even as we focus on exceptional service delivery, which of course remains our core purpose. So I want to assure our members that now that COVID is behind us, we should be able to focus, and I want to promise them better returns going into the future. Thank you very much for the confidence that you have had in us, and we look forward to the successful LAFAN story that has continued, and we are looking forward to continuing being with you. Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation. I still want to appreciate our sponsors who have made us succeed by making timely remittances of contributions. I also want to thank our members. We have not been able to meet because of COVID, but I think going forward in the next AGM, we should be able to meet them physically and get back to our normal business as it used to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CEO, Mr. David Koros, for the remarks and for the report that you have given to our members and sponsors. I believe that our members and sponsors have seen that despite the challenges, LAP Fund continues to thrive, to grow, and to secure their retirement. Now, as part of compliance, as you have heard, members, we are audited by the Office of the Auditor General, and this is now the opportunity for Mr. Samuel Muchiri from that office to come and assure members of the financial stability of LAP Fund as their scheme. Karibu Bwana Muchiri.
Chair, board members, CEO, other distinguished stakeholders, members present, both physically and virtually, members of staff, good morning. My name is Samuel Mugusha Mushiri, representing the Office of the Auditor General, and I will present before you the audit report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of LAP Fund for the year ended 30th June 2021, which the Auditor General issued a clean report or unqualified report. So there are 3 reports in one. I'll read to you the report on financial statements, and then the report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources, and lastly, the report on effectiveness of internal control, risk management, and governance. So report on financial statements. I'll not be reading the whole report. I'm sure this is included in the financial statements, which I'm sure are available to members. So on the report on the financial statements, in my opinion, now this is the Auditor General, of course, the financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the Local Authorities Provident Fund as at 30th June 2021, and of its financial position and its cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with international public sector accounting standards, that is accrual basis, and comply with the Local Authorities Provident Fund Act 1960 and the Public Finance Management Act 2012. So allow me now to read the next report on lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources. As required by Article 229 of the Constitution, based on the audit procedures performed, I confirm that nothing has come to my attention to cause me to believe that public resources have not been applied lawfully and in an effective way. And the last report of effectiveness of internal controls, risk management and governance, again as required by Section 7(1)(a) of the Public Audit Act 2015, based on the audit procedures performed, I confirm that nothing has come to my attention to cause me to believe that internal controls, risk management and governance were not effective. Signed, CPA Nancy Gadongo, CBS, 31st May 2022. Once again, I want to thank management for the cooperation that you accorded our auditors during the audit process. Thank you very much. That is the end of my report.
Thank you so much, Bwana Muchiri. That was nice, straight to the point. Members, the audited accounts will be availed via our website where all members can access them for their review in great detail. Now, scheme funds are invested according to the regulations, the retirement benefits regulations, by professional fund managers. And in compliance, Lab Fund has 2 professional fund managers to ensure that there is competition and also that each fund manager can utilize their strengths in investments. So today we have the 2 fund managers present. We have Sanlam and we have Britam. So we have Mr. Matthew Mwe, who is the Chief Investment Officer at Sanlam, and we have Madam Mercy Gatukui, who is the Portfolio Manager from Britam. So it is my pleasure to welcome you both to come and present the Fund Manager's Investment Report to our members. Karibuni.
Good morning, members. My name is Mercy Gatukui. I am here on behalf of Britam Asset Managers. I will be presenting the joint report of the fund managers. As has been mentioned, we co-manage this fund together with Sanlam East Africa, represented today by Mr. Matthew Moore. So getting into the presentation, it will be brief, but I hope it will be instructive. And I will just start by going through the role of the fund manager. So what is it exactly that we do as a service provider for members? So to begin, we implement the fund's investment policy statement. An investment policy statement is basically a document which outlines the guidelines by which we operate. It outlines our role as the investment manager. It outlines the assets we can and cannot invest in, and it also outlines the benchmark against which our performance is judged. We also aid trustees in selecting the securities which the fund invests in order to generate optimal returns for investors. We also ensure that funds are fully compliant to the investment guidelines that are outlined in the IPS, in addition to the regulatory guidelines which are outlined by the Retirement Benefits Authority. We also report to trustees on a quarterly basis regarding all investment actions that we have undertaken, and we also keep trustees updated on emerging events that are likely to have an impact on the performance of the fund. And finally, we present the fund manager's report during the annual members' meetings such as this one. We shall now go into a brief review of the macroeconomic environment in the year under review. And I'll start by highlighting economic performance, and we note that GDP growth rebounded in 2021. So we are all aware of what happened in 2020 with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. And as the CEO has rightly mentioned, it did have a significant impact on not only the economy, but also the performance of markets. So we did see the economy contracting by about 0.3% in 2020, but there was a sharp recovery in 2021, with the economy growing by about 7.5%. So this growth was mainly driven by a recovery in some of the sectors which were significantly affected by the pandemic, such as education as well as tourism. In 2022, we would expect to see the economy continuing to grow, but at a slower pace than what we saw in 2021, and various policymakers have expectations of growth coming in at anywhere between 4% to 6% for the year. Touching on inflation, and when we talk about inflation, we are referring to the change in prices of goods and services on a year-over-year basis. We note that inflation trended higher in 2021, averaging about 6.1% compared to